Hello, it's that time of year again where we work on the fiscal year 2023 budget. We presented the preliminary budget to Council for approval of the truth and millage rates called TRIM. These rates will be used to calculate the proposed notice of property taxes, which goes out to property owners in August. Now we will review the budget information for you. The foundation of our budget begins with Wellington. Our budget process focuses on the 5 fundamentals: neighborhood renaissance, economic development, protecting our investment, responsive government, and respecting the environment. We then developed the budget using insights and information from the 2022 Directions Workshop with Council. We focus on infrastructure and facility maintenance, recreation, youth, family programs and events, residential and community revitalization, public safety, and visioning and planning. The proposed fiscal year 2023 preliminary rates are 2.47 for ad valorem rate, which is unchanged from fiscal year 2022. The annual ACME assessment remains unchanged at $230. The solid waste assessments are $220 for each curbside unit and $170 for each container unit. This is an increase of $49 from the fiscal year 22 rates. These TRIM solid rates were approved June 14, 2022, and will be on the August 9th agenda for final approval. Water and wastewater user rates include an average monthly bill increase of approximately $2.42. The Saddle Trail assessments are based on property size and the total debt service amount. The per acre assessment rate is $1,721, which is unchanged. Properties are assessed over a 15-year term, and this is the 7th year of the assessment. The fiscal year 23 proposed budget continues Wellington's commitment to stable budgeting for sustainability. The total proposed 23 budget is $128.5 million, which is $5.5 million less than the current year budget of $134 million. This $5.5 million decrease is primarily due to changes in capital project budgeting. However, we're still budgeting $23.8 million in new capital projects while maintaining the same millage and ACME assessment rates. Out of the proposed 23 budget of $128.5 million, tax revenue provides approximately $24 million in revenue using the 2.47 millage rate. With an estimated 12.7% increase in the 22 taxable value up to $10.4 billion, the strength of Wellington's residential market provides ad valorem tax revenues of $2.6 million more than last year at the preliminary 2.47 millage rate. This is the 10th consecutive year of increased property values since 2013. Of the almost 23,000 properties in Wellington, 60% are residential properties with homestead exemptions, and less than 1% are vacant properties. Besides increased ad valorem revenues, revenue increases include in-state and local economic revenues and intergovernmental revenues and business tax receipts. We also see significantly increased revenue for permits and fees, which is driven by activity in the building department. The village is including the addition of the SHIP program, and there are increased revenues in charges for services driven by strong return to full programming and participation for parks and recreation. Ad valorem property taxes account for 44% of the general fund revenues, followed by intergovernmental revenues and grants and utility, fuel, and service taxes at 13% each. The economy remains a major factor in the preparation of this year's budget, given the influences from inflation, supply chain issues, labor hiring and retention challenges, and affordable housing and rising rents. We continue to see increased costs for goods and services, fuel, supplies and materials, chemicals, fertilizers, and contract cost. Our departments are focused on managing these ongoing pressures as we work through the budget process. To expand upon budget changes in the governmental funds, there are $14 million in governmental capital projects, which is a reduction of $5.8 million from fiscal year 2022. $1,780,000 in increased maintenance, recreation, and technological operation is included, as well as $1.7 million for COLA and merit increases, FRS and health insurance increases, and $500,000 for grants matching and a $305,000 increase for the PBSO contract. For the enterprise funds, utility capital projects are budgeted at $9,985,000, down $1.9 million from fiscal year 2022. We have $980,000 in increased facility insurance, increases in utility operating expenses of $650,000, and we're in the second year of the solid waste contract with FCC with a $395,000 increase for expenses. We've also included $295,000 for COLA and merit increases, FRS, and health insurance increases for the enterprise funds. Other increases in utilities are primarily driven by cost for materials and services. Ad valorem tax revenue of $24.4 million represents 44% of general fund revenues for fiscal year 23. The top categories are general government, public safety, and culture and recreation. Now we review the fiscal year 23 new capital funding of $23.8 million. Starting with one-time projects of $9,365,024, we have included $3 million for the Public Safety Annex, the Community Center improvements grants matching of $100,000, grants matching of $250,000 for Greenview Shores bike lanes, grants matching of $500,000 for the Environmental Preserve at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Habitat. We also have the first of 2 years of funding for Olympia Park courts of $600,000 annually, and community park renovations of $1,500,000 in preparation for the Wellington Athletics project, and we've included $3.4 million for the aquatics complex replacement. The fiscal year 22 budget also includes $4,460,000 in ongoing programs, what we always include to keep Wellington infrastructure appropriately maintained. This includes $795,000 for Acme replacement and renewal, neighborhood parks improvements of $320,000, neighborhood pipelining projects of $510,000, park improvements of $325,000, investment in technology of $300,000, continuation of multi-use pathway improvements for $380,000, traffic engineering and turn lane improvements of $120,000. We have established the Athletic Fields Replacement and Renovation Fund with $1.2 million. We have streetscape funding of $510,000. The fiscal year 22 utilities budget comes in at $9,985,000 with continued critical infrastructure projects. The fiscal year 23 millage rate information includes the recommendation for continuation of a stable millage rate at 2.47 mils. To truly bring the proposed budget home, we look at the impact on a homesteaded property valued at $450,000. At the 2.47 millage rate, the increase is $33. The impact on a non-homesteaded property is $111. So while the millage rate is unchanged, homeowners may still see an increase in their taxes if their property value increased. Now we review a sample tax bill. 16% of the total tax bill goes to Wellington. The largest portion of the tax bill is paid to the school district, followed by Palm Beach County. We conclude with the budget calendar and schedule. We're conducting outreach, including the Budget Challenge, which started in early July, so please visit Wellingtonfl.gov online and complete the survey. It's open through August the 15th. We will continue revisions to the budget as we receive Department of Revenue Office of Tax Research municipal revenue estimates. Watch for our August 8th capital workshop, where we will review the $24 million in new capital projects included for funding in the proposed 23 budget. Council will consider adoption of the Acme and Saddle Trail non-ad valorem assessments on August 9th and approval of the Water and Wastewater, Solid Waste, and Lake Wellington Professional Center Enterprise Fund budgets on August 9th. Finally, Council holds 2 public hearings September 6th and 21st for final adoption of the ad valorem millage rate. We will continue to provide updates as we move through the fiscal year 2023 budget process. Thank you for your consideration of this proposed budget that funds Wellington's high levels of service and includes great projects with no millage rate or ACME assessment rate increases.